Okay, guys, I'm going to quickly talk you through the skeletal system notes. I'm also going to have the slides up so you can go through them at your own pace, but if you would prefer to hear my voice taking you through them, that's what we'll do right now. Fair warning, my cat is right next to me and will probably meow before this video is over. So as a reminder, we need to think back about CTOS. And that's just the way our human body is structured. Cells are going to be the smallest basic unit we have. They work together to form tissues. Tissues will perform a specific function. Different types of tissues will form an organ. That organ has a specific function, and it is one of many organs in a larger system, such as the digestive system or the skeletal system, that work together to maintain homeostasis within the body. Homeostasis is that state of balance. For example, your body likes to stay at 98.6 degrees. So your body's going to do different things to keep you there. For the last part of the year, we're going through 10 different body systems. We'll do 2 a week. Looking at tissues real quick, there's 4 main types. An epithelial tissue works as a boundary. So your skin is epithelial tissue. Nerve tissues are to message information using electrical impulses to get from one part of your body somewhere else. Muscles are all about movement. This can be controlled movement and uncontrolled movement that happens without us thinking about it. For example, your heart is beating right now. Connective tissue is going to be tissue that holds the body together and provides support, protection, padding, all that kind of stuff. So this presentation is just looking at the skeletal system. We have 300 bones at birth, but several of those bones fuse as we grow up, so that as an adult, we only have 206. The reason that happens is so that the baby can get out of the birth canal. So particularly like with the skull, some of those plates can kind of slide over each other. That's why babies tend to have funny looking heads right when they're born. So the functions of the skeletal system, it's the anchor for all the body's movements. It provides support. And if you think about your rib cage, it's protecting all those soft organs inside you. That's why you want your seatbelt to kind of go up across your rib cage to protect you without injuring the soft tissues inside. There are 3 types of bones. We have long bones like your arms and your legs. We have short bones like what are in our feet and our hands. And then we have flat bones like our ribs and our skull. Bone tissue is hard on the outside. So when you think of a bone, you're thinking about that compact bone on the outside. When you look inside, it's spongier, and that's where your bone marrow is found, particularly in those long bones. And in that bone marrow, that's where red blood cells are produced. So you can see a connection between your circulatory system, which sends blood cells across your body, and the skeletal system, which is where those red blood cells are made. So your skeleton divides into 2 categories. There is the axial skeleton, which is the main part going down. So your skull, your spinal column, and your ribs. Your appendicular skeleton is all the stuff that comes off, your arms and your legs. So the axial part, it's not as much about movement, it's about support and protection. Your arms and your legs are more about movement. Okay, so here's a picture of the different bones of the body. I'll just pronounce them quickly for you. You have your skull, you have your scapula, that's kind of your shoulder blade. Your humerus is your upper arm, that ends in your funny bone. So humerus, funny bone, that's how I remember that. Your radius is the bone in your forearm that goes down to your thumb. And then the ulna is the bone that goes down more towards to your pinky. Your pelvis is your hip bones, your pelvic bones. Your femur is your upper leg bone. That's really one of the more significant bones in your body. Your patella is your kneecap, and then your tibia and your fibula are the bones in your legs. Your hand bones are called carsals and metatarsals, and your feet bone are tarsals and metatarsals. Our skeleton changes as we age. It tends to get harder, and then as you finish adolescence, it stops growing. As we get older, our bones kind of get more broken down. That's why older people are more prone to breaking bones. This also relates to our joints. You have different types of joints. Some are just not movable, like the way your skull fuses together. Some of them can move a little bit, and some of them can move a lot. Think about all the hip movements you can make. different joints that you can kind of come back and look at later. You have some joints that just slide, like what's in your wrist. You have some that pivot. So it's kind of a semicircle twisting back and forth. So they're showing your elbow here. A hinge, like what's happening at your knee. It moves kind of a back and forth, but it's somewhat limited. You can't really go swinging your lower leg beyond a straight line in front of you because that would not be good. And then ball and socket is a joint that gives you a lot of motion. So that's going to be your shoulder. That's going to be your hip socket. And this last little bit is just looking at the joints. If you kind of trace your hand out and you feel all your different bones and joints, you'll end up being able to find 19 bones in your hand and 14 joints. And that is it.